How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it's December 19th, 2022. It's on Monday today, and it's sunny outside. How are you spending Monday today? Are you already in a winter vacation? Or are you still working? I think many commuters, many workers or students don't like Monday because they have to work for the week, maybe 5 days or 6 days. And this is the beginning of the day, of the dates. Investigation into the incident is underway. Investigation into the experiment is planned. Investigation was conducted at the venue last night. I usually have the investigation into the area I have to guide beforehand, maybe the day before my guiding, to know the souvenir shops, toilets, and so on. Is it still under investigation? Is it under investigation? Is it still under investigation? Is it still under investigation? I usually investigate the area I have to guide the day before my guiding to know the direction, shops, toilets, and so on. What are you investigating? What are you investigating? I usually investigate the information a lot. I usually investigate the prices at some websites and get the best one, get the cheapest one. I usually investigate the prices at different sites, shops, and so on, and I choose the cheapest one. Some people try without investigation. Some people try without investigating. 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 I saw some investigators investigating the area. I saw some investigators around the mountain. I saw some investigators investigating the house. I saw some investigators around the factory. Investigators were investigating the factory to know the reason, to know the cause of the fire. Investigators were gathered around the house to find out the truth behind the fire. Investigator, 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 investigator. Some investigators were gathered, assembled. Some investigators were assembled to investigate the house to find out the truth behind the fire. I, of, I often confuse agency with agent. The spelling is similar. The spelling looks very similar, and both have the same similar meaning. Both have the similar meaning. I often confuse agency with agent because the spelling looks very similar and the meaning also similar. Both have the similar meaning, so which confused me. FBI stands for Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. FRB stands for Federal Reserve Bank. FBI stands for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Do you know what FBI stands for? Do you know what the FBI stands for? Do you know what FBI stands for? Do you know what FBI stands for? FBI stands for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Cool. Travel agency. If I could restart my life, I would try to enter and work for a Japan Tourism Agency. Japan Tourism Agency. If I could restart my life again, I would try to enter either the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, or Japan Tourism Agency. If I could restart my life, I would try to enter and work for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, or Japan Tourism Agency. There are many kinds of agency out there. There are many kinds of agency out there. Travel agency, real estate agency, advertising agency, and so on. The defense agency, an advertising 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 agency. Advertising agency, an advertising agency. The defense agency, the defense agency. Agency, agency. Agency, agency. Agency. An advertising agency, an advertising agency, an advertising agency. The defense agency, defense ministry. The tourism agency. Japan tourism agency. Japan tourism agency. Japan tourism agency. 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 If you have any questions, feel free to ask the agent. Feel free to contact the agent. Our agents are available from 9 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. So during that time, they will answer response to your questions quickly. Agent, a real estate agent, a real estate. Are you interested in real estate? Are you interested in real estate? Real estate investment. Real estate investment. What do you think of a real estate investment? What do you think of the investment in real estate? What do you think of the investment in real estates? A real estate agent. A real estate agent. A real estate agent. A real estate agent. I had a call from the agent. I had a call from the agent. I didn't notice it because I was concentrating on my duty. Can I know the phone number of the agent? Can I know the number of the agent? Can I know the phone number of the agent? The agent is going to meet you at the station, at the front exit. At the east exit of the station, at the west exit of the station. The agent will be meeting you at the south exit of the station. A real estate agent. A real estate agent. Do you like foreign cuisines? Like Indian curry, sushi, and so on. Do you like exotic food? Do you like exotic cuisines? Foreign cuisines, exotic cuisines. Have you tried food from Middle Eastern countries? Have you tried cuisines? Have you tried a cuisine from a Middle East countries? Like Pakistani food, Pakistani cuisines. Have you been to a Middle East country like Pakistan, Iran, and so on? Have you ever been to Dubai? I am always mesmerized the scale of Dubai. There are many incredible things in Dubai. So whenever I watch the incredible things in Dubai, I am mesmerized and I really envy such wealthy environment. Have you ever been to Middle East countries? Have you ever been to a Middle East country? FBI stands for The Federal Bureau of Investigation. Bureau. What bureau is it? The Federal Bureau of Investigation. Government Bureau. Police Bureau. Police Bureau. Police Bureau. Bureau. District Bureau. District Bureau. Government Bureau. Government Bureau. District Bureau. Bureau. The FBI stands for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Federal Bureau of the Investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. Have you contacted the Bureau for questioning? I got suspect emails from the company, so I contacted the authentic bureau if they were genuine or scamming. I got some doubtful emails from a company or pretending to be a company, so I directly contacted the bureau to see if they were authentic or scamming. I got some doubtful emails from anonymous company, from a company pretending to be a company, a kind of pretending to be a company. So I directly contacted the bureau to see if they were authentic, real, they were from the company or scamming. The company has some bureaus in the world. The multinational company has bureaus in the world. Sales bureaus. The agency has some bureaus in the world. The agency has bureaus in the world. The suspect keeps denying what he had done. The suspect keeps denying what the plaintiff believes was done by him. The suspect keeps denying what the plaintiff believes was done by him. The suspect keeps denying what the plaintiff believes was done by him. The thief suspect, a murder suspect, a theft suspect, a theft suspect, a theft suspect, a theft suspect, a murder suspect, a theft 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 suspect, a murder suspect, a murder suspect, a murder suspect, the man was suspected of entering the bank during midnight. The man is suspected of having entered the bank without permission. The man is suspected of having entered the house during midnight. The kid is suspected of eating the cake in the morning without permission. The kid is suspected of eating cake without permission in the morning. The kid is suspected of eating a piece of cake without permission in the morning. The boss suspected the employee of making the mistake at first, but it was not his fault. The boss suspected him of making the mistake, but it was not his fault. I was suspected of not studying at all. I was suspected of sleeping during the class, although I haven't slept in the class at all. The hooligan was suspected of drinking alcoholic beverages. The students are suspected of cheating on the examination. The student was suspected of cheating on the examination. The student was suspected of cheating on the examination. The student was suspected of cheating on the examination. The man was suspected of entering the bank during the midnight. The kid was suspected of eating a piece of cake without permission in the morning. The kid is suspected of having eaten a piece of cake without permission in the morning. The student was suspected of having cheated on the examination. The student was suspected of having cheated on the examination. I got some suspect emails from anonymous people, associations, entities. The best way is to ignore them. I sometimes get suspect emails from someone or somewhere, I don't know. Do you also get suspect emails from anonymous entity or pretending to be a company, pretending to be an entity, pretending to be a big company? Do you also get suspect emails from somebody pretending to be a big company? Do you also get suspect emails from someone pretending to be a big company? I sometimes get suspect emails from somebody pretending to be a big company. I usually ignore them, but the content of such scamming is getting very fine, very authentic. So it is getting more difficult to tell the authentic one from fake. I sometimes get suspect emails from somebody pretending to be a big company, and the bad thing is that the content of the sentences and the sentences are getting more realistic, so it is getting more difficult to tell the authentic one from fake. I usually, whenever I get a phone call from suspect phone numbers, I enter the numbers and check on the internet. I check the number on the internet, and most of the time, some other people got phone call from the numbers are commenting about that, so I can get the information. And I reject such numbers for good. I set such numbers rejection. And I keep rejecting such numbers for good. Whenever I get suspect call from a whenever I get a phone call from a suspect phone numbers, I check the numbers through the internet, and there are always somebody who had already got the phone call and commenting about the information, commenting about that. And if it is a scamming, I keep rejecting the number. I set the number as rejection. I immediately set the number as rejection. Whenever I get a phone call from a suspect phone numbers, I check the number through the internet, and there are always somebody who got the phone beforehand and comment about that. There are always somebody who had already got the phone calls from the suspect phone numbers and comment about that. I immediately set the numbers as rejection. Immediately I set the rejection to the numbers. I immediately set the rejection to the numbers. Set the rejection to the numbers. Suspect. There are many suspect interpretations. If the terms and conditions are too good, they are very much suspect. They sound very much suspect. If the conditions and the terms are too good, they sound suspect, doubtful, suspect, doubtful, doubtful. I failed the examination 7 times in a row, which means I became a kind of donor of the examination fee 7 times. I failed the examination 7 times, which means I became a sort of donor of the money to the association 7 times. Have you ever been a donor? Have you ever been a donor? Are you familiar with the number of donors and recipients? Is it taken balance? Which is larger in number? Which is larger in number? Are you familiar with the number of donors and recipients? Which is larger in number? Donor. 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 I failed the examination 7 times in a row, which means I became a kind of donor of money for the association. I failed the examination 7 times in a row, which means I donated the money 7 times to the association. Nobody donated. There is nobody who is able to donate that organ. Donate. I donated my unwanted clothes to the second-hand shop. I should have donated my unwanted clothes to somebody association to help somebody in the world. I should have donated my unwanted clothes to the association than selling those to the second-hand shop because I didn't get much money from that. It was like 300 yen or 200 yen. So I should have donated my unwanted clothes to an association to help somebody in the world. Do you like to donate? Do you like to? Can you donate to the olfactory box of an association or entity you don't know? Can you donate your money to the olfactory box of an entity you don't know? Can you donate some of your money to the olfactory box of an entity or organization you don't know? Some celebrities sometimes donate tremendous amount of money. I am astonished by the amount of donation by celebrities. I am sometimes hear celebrities donating a tremendous amount of money to an association. The celebrity seems to have donated a tremendous amount of money. The celebrity seems to have donated. Do you like to donate? Some rich people tend to donate. Some rich people tend to donate. Some rich people are inclined to donate. Some rich people are up to donate. Do you like to donate? Do you like to donate? Do you like to donate? Do you like donating? Do you like donating? Do you like to donate? Do you like to donate? Do you like donating? 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 Donation. Can you make a donation? Can you make a donation? Can you make a donation? Donation. Can you make a donation to an olfactory box of an entity you don't know? Can you make a donation to the olfactory box of from an entity you don't know? Can you make a donation to an entity that you don't know? Can you make a donation? Can you make a donation to an entity or organization that you don't know? Make a donation. I wanted to make a donation of my unwanted clothes to somebody wanting it. I'd like to make a donation of the second-hand guitar to whoever I know, whoever wants it. I'd like to make a donation of my second-hand guitar to whoever wants it. I heard of the news of a celebrity making a tremendous amount of money, make a donation of tremendous amount of money. I heard a news. I sometimes hear a news of a celebrity making a donation of extraordinary amount of money. I sometimes hear a news of a celebrity making a donation of extraordinary amount of money. I sometimes hear a news of a celebrity making a donation of tremendous amount of money. I sometimes hear a news of the celebrity making a donation of tremendous amount of money. Making a donation. Make a donation. Can you make a donation? Can you make a donation to an entity, anonymous entity? Tremendous amount of money was made a donation to the disaster-stricken area. Food and drinks were made a donation to the disaster-stricken area, disaster-affected area. The volunteer group made a donation of food and drinks to the disaster-affected area. The volunteer group made a donation of food and drinks to the disaster-affected area. The big company made a donation of 1 billion yen to the disaster-affected area. The company is wealthy enough to be able to make a donation of 1 billion yen to the disaster-affected area. The big company made a donation of 10 billion yen to the disaster-affected area. I wish I were the recipient of the Nobel Prize. I wish I were the recipient of the gold medal like the athlete, which is very cool. I wish I were the recipient of the gold medal. I wish I were the recipient of the Grammy Award. I wish I were the recipient of the Grammy Award. I aim at becoming the recipient of the Grammy Award someday. I really wish for getting the award, Grammy Award. I am really wishing for getting the Grammy Award. I really wishing for getting the Grammy Award. Do you think I can get a Grammy Award? I really want to be the recipient of Grammy Award. Grammy Award. I hope I can get the Grammy Award. I hope I can become the recipient of the Grammy Award. I hope I can become the recipient of the Grammy Award. I hope I can become the recipient of the Grammy Award. All of the recipients of the awards said they just did what they like. All of the recipients said they just did what they like. I'm looking forward to what I can receive for the Christmas present today. I am looking forward to what I can receive from the lucky bag. Lucky bag. Lucky bag is usually sold at the end of the year. We don't know what is included in the lucky bag, but we can get good dealings. Lucky bag is a shopping bag with many merchandise inside. We cannot see and know what is included inside, but they are really good dealings. If you buy, then you buy at the shopping. The demerit is that the demerit of getting the lucky bag is that we cannot know the contents inside. However, we can get good dealings than we just buy in the shop. I am looking forward to what I can receive from the lucky bag. Have you already received the letter? Have you already received the letter? If you cannot receive the letter by the deadline, please contact us. If you cannot receive the letter, examination letter by Friday night, please contact us. I'd like to make sure that all of you received the kit needed for the start of the lesson. Now I've handed them out. Now I'd like to make sure all of you received the kit. I'd like to make sure that all of you received the kit. If you don't have one, please raise your hand. I'd like to make sure that all of you have received the kit. If you don't, please raise your hand. I usually get receipt from the shopping, at the cashier, just in case. I usually get receipt from the cashier. Do you also get receipt from the cashier or throw it away? Do you get receipt from the cashier or throw it away in the box? Do you always get the receipt or throw it away to the garbage can? Do you get receipt from the cashier or throw it away to the box bin? Garbage can. Do you always get receipt or throw it away to the garbage can? I always get receipt from the cashier, but I sometimes forget to get receipt. Please do not forget to get receipt every time you have a shop. Please do not forget to get the receipt whenever you shop. Whenever you buy something in a shop. Whenever you shop. Receipt. Please do not forget to get the receipt from the shop. Please do not forget to get the receipt whenever you shop. Receipt. In the assembly line, the products are dropped into the receiver automatically, and when the container is filled with products, which will notify us with the siren. So if you hear the siren, please change the container, the receiver, with a new one. Okay. In the assembly line, at the last assembly line, there are some receivers to get the completed product. When the container, the receiver, is filled with the products, it will notify us with silence sound and the red light. If you hear the sound, please go there to change that with new container receiver. Is it possible to put the receiver at the entrance of my house to get the orders from a deliverers? Receiver. If there is no receiver at your house, a paper to notify you of the delivery will be put in the post office post box, and you have to call the deliverer later again to get the product. If there is no receiver at your house, the delivery service staff will put a paper to notify you of the delivery later in the post box. So please call the number written on the paper later to get the delivery. Receiver. What is the difference between recipient and receiver? Recipient, receiver. Similar. I'm really confused. If there is no receiver at your house, the delivery staff will put the paper in the post box, and please call the number written on the paper later to get the delivery, okay? Receiver. Because there was no receiver at my house when the delivery staff came. I got a paper notifying me of the delivery later. I got a paper notifying me of the no-show. Notifying me that I was not there. So I have to call the number written on the paper to get the order. Receiver, 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 receiver. In the assembly line, the completed products are dropped in the receivers. When the receivers are filled with the products, we can know by the siren and the red light. If you hear the siren and see the red light, please go there and change the receivers with new ones, okay? Receiver, 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 recipient, receiver, recipient, receiver, 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 receiver. It is normal to give up my seats to the elderly people for me. It is normal for me to give up my seat to elderly people in public transportation. It is normal to give up my seat to elderly people at public transportation. It is normal to give up my seat to elderly people in public transportation. It is normal for me to give up my seat to elderly people. I want my father to give up smoking and drinking alcohol. I want my father to give up alcohol and cigarette. I cannot give up my dreams. Don't let children give up their dreams. Don't let your children give up their dreams. Don't let your children give up their dreams. Don't let children give up their dreams. Don't let your kids give up their dreams. Don't let kids give up their dreams. I don't want you to give up your dreams. Don't give up your dreams until you achieve it, okay? Persist with it. Stick to it. Stick with it. Stick with it. Persist with it. Keep to it. I gave up becoming a musician recently. I think many people will give up becoming a musician at the earlier stage of the process. I think many students, younger people, would like to be a musician, but most of them will give up in the process, in the course. I think many people, especially young people, would like to become a musician, but most of them will give up in the process because they will know how difficult it is to earn money with music. Many people, especially young people, would like to become a musician, but most of them will give up in the process because they realize how difficult it is to make a living with music. Many people would like to become a musician at first, especially when they are younger, especially when they are in their 20s or teens. But most of them give up becoming a musician because they realize how difficult it is to make a living with music. I want my father to give up alcohol and cigarette. I want my father to give up alcohol and cigarette. Don't let kids give up their dreams. Don't let your children give up their dreams. Don't let your children give up their dreams. Don't let children give up their dreams. Don't let children give up their dreams. It is very normal, common. It is common sense for me to give up my seat to elderly people. It is quite normal. It is quite normal to give up my seat to elderly people in the public transportation. It is quite normal to give up my seat to elderly people in the public transportation. The club activity when I was a junior high school student was the toughest, strictest thing ever. The club activity I experienced when I was a junior high school student was the strictest one, mentally and physically, ever. I will not experience more than that. I will not experience the thing mentally and physically harder than that, stricter than that. While educated in a strict environment, we can grow more in a strict environment. If you are in a comfortable zone, you will not grow much. So some athletes dare to put themselves in a strict environment to grow, leaving the family behind and so on. So before a big match, athletes tend to put themselves in a strict environment, leaving the family behind for maybe 1 month or 2 weeks to grow much. Strict. The rule is very strict in some company. The compliance is very strict. The rules and policies are very strict in some entity. Strict. While you educate in a strict environment, at this rate, entering the university is very strict. Entering the university is very strict at this rate. So if you have a time, I recommend you study 1 year more. Of course you have to take the examination, but it's very strict. But I want you to try again after the failing next year. Strict confidence. Only the top 2 know the strict confidence. Only the top 2 and only the 2 tops know the strict confidence. 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 Consumer confidence. Consumer confidence. Strict confidence. Strict confidence. Can you give the strict confidence? Only the 2 tops know about the strict confidence. Only the 2 tops know the strict confidence. There are some documents with the seal showing strict confidence. There are all of the documents in this store are strict confidence. All of the information stored in this room are strict confidence. So please do not release them. So please do not leak them. All of the information stored, all of the information written in the documents are strict confidence. So please do not release them. Please do not leak them, okay? All of the information written in the documents in this room are strict confidence. All of the information written in the documents in this storehouse are strict confidence. Strict confidence. strict confidence, strict confidence, strict confidence, strict confidence. I bought the textbook with a view to studying. I bought the postcard to send it to my friend, relatives. The ambulance came close to hitting the dog. The car came close to hitting the dog. The car was about to hit the pedestrian. The car almost hit the pedestrian. Strict confidence. Strict confidence. All of the information stored in this room are strict confidence. So please do not release it. Please do not leak that. Strict confidence. 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 All of the information written in the documents in this room are strict confidence. 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 All of the information written in the documents in this room are strict confidence. Strict confidence. The information we talked about today are strict confidence. So please do not leak that to anybody. There are some strict confidences. Some strict confidence. There must be more strict confidences behind that. The special techniques are special confidence, are strict confidence. Strict confidence. The content we talked about today is strict confidence. So please do not leak that to anybody, okay? Strict confidence. Strict confidence. The content we talked about today is strict confidence. Only limited number of employees and executives are allowed to join the meetings because some content which is strict confidence is talked about. Only limited number of executives are allowed to join the meeting today because I'm sure some information which is strict confidence is talked about. Limited number of executives are allowed to join the meeting today because some information with strict confidence will be talked about. Strict confidence, strict confidence, strict confidence, strict confidence. The speaking test was strictly marked, assessed, valued, evaluated. All of the candidates were strictly evaluated, assessed, valued, rated. The association members strictly assessed the taste of the menu in the restaurant to rank in the ranking. Strictly speaking, it is almost impossible for you to pass examination at this rate. Strictly speaking, nothing is perfect. Your essay left nothing to be desired except for the terrible handwriting. My coach told me that my performance on the stage left nothing to be desired except for one mistake. My coach told me that my performance on the stage left nothing to be desired except for one mistake. Why you brought up strictly? Why you brought up strictly? Why you trained in the club activity strictly? Why you train strictly in the club activity strictly? Strictly, 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 strictly speaking, nothing is perfect. Strictly speaking, nothing is perfect. Strictly speaking, it is not authentic. It is not genuine. Strictly speaking, you need more practice. Strictly speaking, you need more practice. Strictness has both merits and demerits. Strictness has both merits and demerits. Strictness might make the students better. On the other hand, it might make other students depressed or even weaker. Strictness of the education has both merits and merits. It might work well for some students, but while others it might not work. Strictness of education has both merits and demerits. It might work for some students, but it might not work for other students. Strictness of education has both merits and demerits. It makes some students stronger, while others weaker. Strictness. The school is famous for the strictness of rule. The school is famous for the strictness of the rule. The public transportation is known for the strictness and punctuality. Strictness, strictness, strictness. It was not until I started my part-time job that I realized the strictness of the society. It was not until I started my part-time job when I was a high school student that I realized the strictness of the society, strictness of earning money in the society. It wasn't until I started my part-time job in the bar that I realized how strict it is to earn money from in the society. It wasn't until I started my part-time job in the Japanese restaurant, that I realized the strictness to earn money in the society. Strictness, strictness, strictness. Strictness, strictness, strictness. Some people will escape from the strictness. The sport is very strict, and some people quit soon. Strictness. Some people cannot withstand the strictness of the sports. Some people cannot put up with the strictness of the martial art and quit soon. Some people cannot endure, put up with the strictness of the training of the martial art, and quit soon. Some people cannot endure the strictness of the training of the martial art and quit soon. Strictness, 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 strict, strictly, strictness, strict, 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 strictness, 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 strictness. Some people cannot endure, put up with the strictness of the hard training of the martial art and quit soon. Strictness. I've got through many strictnesses. Many freshmen were realize the strictness of the society soon after entering a company after graduating from high school or university. Many freshmen will realize the strictness of the society after entering company soon after the graduation. Strictness. I don't like to endure, put up with the severe coldness of the winter, which it is expected to be much colder January, but it's already too cold for me. I don't like the coldness. I have overcome many severe environment, severe experiences. I've overcome many severe environments. Recession, depression, situation, condition. The team winning over the opponent sounds severe, given the level. The team winning over the opponent sounds very severe, given the experiences and this season's result and the level. Severe. I've got over many severe situations. We've got over many severe situations. We will get over severe situations gradually and approach perfection. Although we cannot be perfection ever, forever. We've overcome severe situations in the course of our life, in the process of our life. I've got over many severe situations in the process of my life, in the course of my life until now. I've got over many severe situations in the course of my life, in the process of my life. We will get over many severe difficulties, problems, situations in the course of our lives, in the process of our lives, in the process of our lives. Severe. I suffered severe pain on my neck last night. I suffered from the severe pain on my neck. I sometimes suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. I often suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. I sometimes suffer severe itchiness on my skin. I sometimes suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. I frequently suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. I frequently suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. I frequently suffer from severe itchiness. I suffer from severe coldness every winter. I suffer from severe hotness and coldness every winter and summer. I suffer from severe coldness every winter. I suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. I frequently suffer from severe itchiness on my skin. It sounds very severe to reach the destination in time. It sounds very severe to reach the destination, reach destination, reach destination, reach destination, reach destination, reach destination, reach the destination, reach destination, reach destination, reach the destination, reach destination in time. Severe. It sounds very severe to reach the destination. to reach destination, to reach destination, to reach destination, to reach destination, to reach the destination, to reach destination, to reach destination, to reach destination in time for the opening time. It sounds very severe. To reach destination, reach the destination, reach the destination, reach the destination, reach the destination, reach 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 the destination. It sounds very severe. To reach the destination, reach the destination, reach the destination. It sounds very difficult. Sounds severe. To reach the destination, reach destination, reach destination, reach the destination, reach destination, reach the destination, reach destination, reach the destination, reach the destination, reach the destination, to reach the destination. It sounds very severe. To reach the destination, reach the destination, reach the destination, reach the destination. It sounds very severe. To reach destination, reach the destination, reach the destination. It sounds very severe. To reach the destination, reach the destination, reach destination, reach destination. It sounds very difficult. To reach destination, reach the destination, reach the destination. It sounds very severe. To reach the destination on time. Severe financial problems. Severe financial problems. We are in a severe financial problems. We are in a severe financial problems. 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 Were you educated severely? Were you educated severely? The district was devastated severely after the typhoon. I frequently suffer from itchiness severely. 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 Were you educated severely? Were you educated severely? I was trained severely at the club activity. I was trained severely at the training of the club activity. I was trained severely at the club activity. I was trained severely at the club activity. I was trained severely at the training of the club activity. At the training of the club activity. I was trained severely at the training of the club activity. I was trained severely at the club activity. At the training of the club activity. At the training of the club activity. I was trained severely at the training of the club activity. Severely. The exam this time was severely marked, evaluated, rated. The second stage of the speaking test will be severely evaluated, severely rated, severely assessed, severely marked. The exam this time was severely marked. The second stage of the speaking test was severely marked this time. Severely. Severely. Those violating the law should be punished 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 severely. The kids were severely punished for being late for school 3 times in a row. The driver was severely punished for drunk driving. The driver was punished severely for drunk driving. I got injured severely after falling, after tripping over, after falling. So I went to hospital. I went to clinic. I sometimes got injured severely on my knees after falling. I frequently feel itchiness severely. I frequently suffer from itchiness severely. I sometimes feel itchiness severely. I sometimes or frequently feel itchiness severely. I frequently suffer from itchiness severely. I frequently suffer from itchiness severely. 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 I don't want to be severely punished, so I will obey the rule. I will obey the rule. Severely. I frequently suffer from itchiness severely. The second stage of the speaking test was marked severely. It was not until I started my part-time job I realized the severity of earning money in the society. Severity. It was not until I started my part-time job for the first time in my life that I realized the severity of the society. Severity. It was not until I started my job as a waiter at a restaurant that I realized the severity of earning money in the society. Severity. Severity. The severity of the outcome of the typhoon will be more clear tomorrow morning. It's dark, so we cannot see the landscape of the outside. We will know the severity of the outcome of the typhoon tomorrow morning. The picture showed the severity of the typhoon power, a typhoon devastation. The picture showed the severity of the natural disaster. The picture shows the severity of the natural disaster. The picture of before and after shows the severity of the natural disaster. I think nobody will withstand the severity which I experienced. I'm sure nobody can withstand the severity which I experienced. I'm certain that nobody can endure the severity I experienced. I am certain that nobody can put up with the severity I experienced. I am sure that nobody can withstand the severity I experienced. I'm confident that nobody can endure the severity which I experienced. I'm sure that nobody can withstand the severity which I experienced. Severity. 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 When he lost the credit of the subject, he realized the severity of getting the credit in the university. Severity. 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 I often confuse the word between strictness and severity. I confuse the word strictness with severity. Severity. I confuse the word strictness and severity. Strictness, severity, strictness, severity, strictness, severity, strictness, severity. Strictness, severity, strictness, severity, strictness, severity, strictness, severity, strictness. Strictness, severity. I often confuse the word strictness with severity. Severity. We haven't realized the severity of the outcome after the typhoon yet because it's dark. We will find out more tomorrow morning. Severity. Nobody knows the severity of my itchiness. No one can understand the severity of my skin itchiness. Nobody will understand the severity of my skin itchiness. I'm sure that nobody will withstand the severity which I experienced. Severity, severity, severity. I tried some strategies to curb me from scratching my skin, but nothing worked. I tried some strategies, methods, ways to curb myself from scratching my skin. I tried some strategies, methods, ways to curb myself from scratching my skin. The newly established laws, I hope, will curb the crimes. I hope that the newly enacted laws will curb wrongdoings by people. I think some ordinances or laws are not working enough to curb the wrongdoings. We have rules to curb people from doing wrongdoings. We have rules, compliances to curb the people from doing wrongdoings. We have rules to curb people from doing wrongdoings. We have rules to curb people from doing wrongdoings. The interest rates were increased to curb the overrun of the economy. Interest rates were decreased. I tried a variety of ways to curb myself from getting itchy, but nothing was perfect. I tried some ways to curb my itchiness on my skin. Some ones worked well, but it was not perfect. But they were not perfect. I wish I were as healthy as ordinary people regarding my skin condition. I'd like to curb my itchiness on my skin. I'd like to curb the itchiness on my skin. I put ointment and humidifier on my skin to prevent my allergy from acting up, to curb my atopic dermatitis from acting up. I put ointment on my skin to curb my atopic dermatitis or eczema from acting up. We have rules to curb people from doing wrongdoings. We have rules and laws to curb people from violating the rules or laws. The rules are helping. The rules are contributing to curbing us from doing wrongdoings. The laws are contributing to us, contributing to curbing us from doing wrongdoings. The rules are contributing to curbing us from doing wrongdoings. The rules are contributing to curbing us from doing wrongdoings. Curb. One way to curb us from being distracted by other things is to remove them. If there is a temptation in front of me, I might use it. I might be tempted by it, which will affect my concentration. So, in order to curb myself from being tempted or distracted by other things, I remove them. There is a curb on the walkway. There is a curb on the walkway. I used to walk on the curb on the walkway when I was a kid for fun. I was walking on the curb on the walkway for fun when I was a kid. I was walking on the curb on the walkway when I was a kid for fun. I was walking on the curb on the walkway for fun when I was a kid. Some rules are not working as a curb, I think. Some rules are not working as a curb to preventing people from doing wrongdoings. Curb. Too much curb will affect reversely, I think. I guess. I believe. I bet. Putting ointment on my skin will work as a curb of the itchiness to some extent, to a certain extent, to some degrees, but not perfect. Putting ointment on my skin will work as a curb of the itchiness to some extent, to a certain extent. I put ointment and moisturizer on my skin to curb my atopic dermatitis from acting up. I put moisturizer on my skin to curb my atopic dermatitis from acting up. I put moisturizer on my skin to prevent my atopic dermatitis from acting up. I put moisturizer on my skin to curb my atopic dermatitis from acting up. Putting ointment and moisturizer on my skin work as a curb of my itchiness to some extent, to a certain extent. Putting ointment and moisturizer on my skin work as a curb of my itchiness to some extent, to a certain extent. I used to walk on the curb of the walkway, when I was a kid for fun. On the way my home to school, on my way home to and school, on my way home and to school. Putting ointment and moisturizer on my skin work as the curb of the itchiness to some extent, to a certain extent, to some degrees. In a few years, we will have finished paying off the loans. In 3 years, we'll have finished paying off the debts, loans. When will you pay off the debts? How many loans are you contracting with the bank? How many year loans? How many year loans have you contracted with the bank? How many contracts? How many year loans have you contracted with the bank? How many year loans? How many year loans have you contracted with the bank? How many year loans have you contracted with the bank? How many years do you have to pay back the loans? How many years, how long have you, and will you have to pay back the loans? I will finish paying off the debts, the loans in 3 years. The kids were making believe that they were aliens. The kids were making believe that they were aliens. Some employees make believe they are working hard in both the presence. Some employees pretend to be working hard in both the presence. Some people pretend to be working hard in both the presence in front of bosses. Some employees make believe that they are working hard in both the presence. And some employees pretend to be working hard in both the presence. Some employees make believe that they are working hard in both the presence. The kids were making believe that they were aliens. The kids were making believe that they were aliens. In 3 years, we will have finished paying off the loans. In 3 years, we will have finished paying off the loans. In 3 years, we will have finished paying off the loans. In 3 years, we will have finished paying off the loans. In 3 years, we will have finished paying off the loans. Do you think honesty will pay off in the long run? I think honesty will pay off in the long run. Taking the difficult part, taking the difficult one, choosing the difficult one of the two choices will pay off in the long run. If you are faced with two options, you have to choose in the two options. If you are faced with two options, my teacher told me to choose the more difficult one. If I am faced with two options, my teacher told me to choose the more difficult one, more difficult one. If I am confronted with two options, my teacher told me to choose the more difficult one, more difficult one. I choose the more difficult one. If I am confronted with two options, my teacher told me to choose the difficult one, more difficult one. Choose the difficult one. Choose the more difficult one. Choosing the more difficult one in the two choices will pay off, I think. Is your business paying off? I hope your business will pay off in the long run. The business might look not going well at first, but it might succeed in the long run. So being patient is also important to start the business. Not every business will start will start with prosper at first. Not every business will start with prosper. Some businesses might start with prosper, while others might be prosperous later. Not every business will start with prosper. Some businesses might thrive at first, while others might prosper later. When is the deadline of the payoff? 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 Payoff. The detail of the payoff is written in the paper. There are some available methods you can choose. There are some ways for the pay and payoff. Credit cards, sending money from the bank, online bank, and so on. Electrical payment, electrical payment, and so on. When is the deadline of the payoff? When is the deadline of the payoff? Payoff. Payoff. When is the deadline of the payoff? Please send us the money by the deadline of the payoff. There are some ways for the payoff. There are some ways for the payoff. Some ways are available for the payoff. The object was busted by the cat. The object was busted by the typhoon. The bar was busted by the strong wind. The bar was destroyed by the strong wind. I usually have push-ups to increase the muscle of the bust muscle of the bust. I usually do push-ups for the training with a view to increase the muscle of the bust. With a view to increasing the bust of the muscle of the bust. I usually push ups regularly with a view to increase the muscle of the bust. In order to increase the bust muscle, so as to increase the muscle of the bust. The wind was strong enough to bust the bar. The wind was strong enough to bust the bar. The wind was so strong as to bust the bar, bust the bar, bust the bar. The police officer busted the man for speeding 200 km over limitation. The police officers busted the driver for speeding 200 kilometers over the limitation. Oh my god. The wind was strong enough to bust the bar. The boxer's punch was strong enough to bust the guard of the opponent. The boxer's punch was so strong as to bust the block of the opponent's block. The boxer's punch was so strong as to bust opponent block. Bust opponent block. Bust opponent block. Bust opponent block. as to pass the opponent block. The man was busted for possessing the drug. The man was arrested for speeding. The driver was busted for speeding. The man 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 was busted for entering the bank illegally. The police officers busted the driver for speeding. The police officers busted the man for entering the bank illegally. The police officers arrested the man for depriving the old lady of money with the fraudulent scheme. The police officers busted the man for depriving the old lady of the money with the fraudulent scheme. The police officers busted the man for robbing the old lady of the money with a fraudulent scheme. The police officers busted the man for robbing the old lady of the money with scamming. My leg was busted by falling. My dream was busted by the disease. Some of my dreams were busted by my disease. Some of my dreams were busted by my disease. Some of my dreams were busted by the disease. Some gadgets will be busted by being immersed into the water. Many gadgets will be busted by immersing into the water, by soaking into the water. Many gadgets, electrical goods, will be busted by immersing into water, soaking into water. Many electrical goods will be busted by immersing into water, by submerging into water, by soaking into water. Many gadgets, electrical goods will be busted by immersing them into water, soaking them into water. Many electrical goods will be busted by immersing them into water, soaking them into water. Many electrical goods will be busted by immersing into water, by soaking into water. I regularly push ups as a training in order to increase the muscle of my bust. I regularly exercise and have muscle training in order to increase the muscle of my bust. The police officers busted the man for depriving the old lady of money with fraudulent scheme. The police officers arrested the man with a warrant of the arrest from the judge for depriving the old couple of money with fraudulent scheme. With the scamming. The police officers busted the speeding driver. The police officer busted the speeding driver. The police officers busted the speeding driver. The police officer busted the speeding driver. The police officers busted the driver for speeding. The police officer busted the driver for speeding. The evidence captured from the security camera and other evidences led to the bust of the suspect. Enough evidences led to the bust of the suspect. The wind was strong enough to bust the bar. Some of my dreams were busted by my disease. By my disease. The police officer busted the man on the spot. The police officer busted the man on the spot. The police officer busted the man on the spot. The police officer busted the rioter on the spot. The police officer busted the rioter on the spot. The police officer conducted the raid on the criminal's house, on the suspect's house. The police officer conducted the raid on the suspect's house. Raid. The police officer executed the raid on the criminal's house, suspect's house. The police officers executed a raid on the suspect's house. The police officers executed the raid on the suspect's house. The police officers executed raid on the criminal's house. The police officers executed a raid on the suspect's house. The police officers conducted the raid on the suspect's house. The police officers conducted the raid on the suspect's house. I sometimes watch news in which police officers raiding on the suspect's house. I sometimes watch news in which police officers executing a raid on the suspect's house. I once watched a news in which the prosecutors executing a raid on the company. I still remember watching the news in which the prosecutors executing the raid on the company. I still remember watching the news in which the prosecutors were executing a raid on the company. Raid, 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 raid on the company, raid on the shop, raid on the house. The prosecutors executed a raid on the company to gather information. The prosecutors executed a raid on the company. Raid, raid, raid. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.